The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus. A look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 11th with the next generation July 1st. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standard-bred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Now here's your host, Roger Houston.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. We're at Eldorado Scioto Downs to talk about this Saturday's July 1st Next Generation. We'll sit down and talk with Director of Racing Jason Roth after this message.
Racing is back at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long in the new grandstands. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. Tuesday and Wednesday post time is 3:15. Thursday through Saturday, the first race post time is 5:50. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation on July 1st. Horse players earn points with the new Caesars Rewards program. Eldorado Scioto Downs. Live racing is back.
Back here on Freshman Focus, Jason, packed house Saturday night. How did it make you feel?
It was great to see everybody come out. You know, we had a lot of fun. I think the fans and the guests that we had here, they had a lot of fun watching the horse races, watching the dogs. We had some loose dogs behind the tote board, and it made for some good entertainment.
You know, you mentioned about those dogs getting loose behind the tote board. It took them a while to catch those two.
They were inside the tote board.
How do you think the fans reacted to it? I mean, I saw people standing up against the outside fence here at the racetrack. The grandstand was packed. You said the volume level was even tremendous from the fans themselves.
You know, after the first race, you know, you hear the horses coming down the stretch, and you hear the stands just erupt as they get closer to the finish line. It definitely gives you chills.
You know, I would say that with the crowd that just owned the dogs and their family and friends, probably 75% of those people had never ever been to Scioto Downs. And that's what it's all about, is to get them to the track, enjoy themselves, and hopefully get them back.
I wouldn't disagree with that. You know, we hope they do come back, and we hope that they had a good enough time that they're going to want to, you know, check out Scioto again.
Full house, clubhouse was packed. Made you feel real good, didn't it?
Yeah, it's, you know, so far, you know, it's been a great year. Yeah. People have been coming out and, you know, enjoying themselves, putting a little money through the window, and that's what we're here for.
Now, Next Generation. How is it shaping up for this year?
It was a little stressful. The slots are all full now. Every race will have 8 horses go behind the gate for $150,000. You know, the last 2 years it hasn't filled exactly like I would hope. So we made some changes to it last year, which it didn't go so well this year. We had to auction them off, and we'll probably make some adjustments for next year.
You offered some on Preferred Equine. You ever think of putting them all up for picking maybe 10 days ahead?
Yeah, we used Preferred Equine. They've been great partners the last 2 years. David Reed could not done it without him. So I don't know what we'll do for next year. I'm definitely going to have to think about it a little bit. You know, we might lower the nomination fee, or maybe have a kind of a second chance nomination once we get closer to qualifiers. I don't know quite yet.
You've got a great horse supply here this year. Last week you had 25, 26 races. Today, this Monday you had 25, 26 again. Horse supply is pretty good.
Really, horse supply has been good the last few years. You know, we do race some late closers for our 2- and 3-year-olds, and I couldn't be happier with our horse supply. I think last year our average box was 185 horses. This year, it's not far off, maybe even above that. I haven't checked here lately. But we're 16 races, full fields every single night.
Horses for the next generation, all Ohio breds?
They are, and I think that's, for me, it's an appealing race just because, we've seen the Charlie Mays, we've seen the Sea Silks, we've seen the champions in the race, but also we've seen horses that haven't went on to be champions in the race that are very good horses. They just haven't, stepped up to that next level of the Charlie Mays or the Sea Silks, and so you can be in that race, you can win that race, and you may not have the best horse in the state.
And speaking of Charlie May, he won in the very initial one and went on to be very competitive and one of the leaders of his class each year following that.
Absolutely, and like I just said, the best horse may not win that race. If you look last year, I remember the 2-year-old colt trot, John Dutton. He was way back and he come flying home, and he's one of the top 1, 2, 3 in the state this year. I think he finished second in the next generation last year. So I don't know if that's a mixture of the drivers don't know what they have yet, or I'm sure if you had 4 more starts in John Dutton, Chris Page probably would have known what he had and you'd been closer to the front. So who knows? That's what makes the race appealing.
Next generation, going on July the 1st, reshapes the schedule for the Ohio Sire Stakes, right? Yeah,
typically the Ohio Sire Stakes would start the same weekend as the next generation. We ended up talking to the Standardbred Development Fund. We moved the Sire Stakes back 1 week. We started that, when we started the next generation, to make it the first race on the 2-year-old schedule.
Next generation certainly helps the Ohio breds and the entire Sire Stake program.
I'd like to think so. I mean, I think it helps, the breeders, the owners. Granted, you got to have the 10.5 to put up, but how many horses are going to make 75,000 their very first lifetime start? So there will be a lot of owners here Saturday night shooting for that 75,000.
Have the fans shown a likeness for the next generation?
I think so. I've heard, people talk about it off and on. It's still a 2-year-old race. It's still their very first lifetime start, as stake start for sure. Some of them have had a now winners of 1 start, but you still don't know what's going to happen in that race. You still don't know who the best is, and we're about to find out here in a few days.
You know who the best one is. Your wagering handle this year, would you say it's up over past year?
We're definitely up over past year, both on track and off track. We've had a great meet so far, and the grandstand obviously helps the on track handle, but we've helped our off track with adding the show between Jenna and Barry, and they do a great job, and we keep on looking to make improvements and make it better.
Simulcast wise, over the years I've learned you've got to have a show. You can't have music and dead air. Barry and Jenna do a great job.
Yeah, it is a big part of it, and also a big part of it is placing your races in the right spots with the other tracks that are racing in the country. Trying to stay off Northfield and Hoosier and the Meadowlands, and we have a guy in our mutuals office that does a great job at that, Tim George, and that's also a big part of it, and it obviously helps handle. You can see when you land on top of the Meadowlands, your handle goes way down for that race. So we try and stay off some of them other tracks that we can.
You got 16 races a program, 5 to 6 hour broadcast. It gives great opportunities for Ohioans to get their horses raced.
So that's what we're trying to do. We definitely race for a lot of money. We try to, people do complain about the long hours, but 16 races. It's not going to be a quick evening.
Yeah. Will you tweak maybe the schedule next year? I noticed on Tuesday and Wednesday you race a little after 3, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the 5:50. Do you think that's beneficial, or will there be tweaks in that?
I think we'll probably go back to all evening post times next year. We may tweak the schedule, race on a few more Mondays, find out when other tracks are racing, when they're not racing. Obviously, we want as least competition as possible. But also we definitely want to race on Friday and Saturday night and have people come out here and enjoy the races.
Jason, we'll be back in just a few moments, but right now we're going to pause for these messages, and when we come back, a final question for Jason Roth.
Athletes, they come in all shapes and sizes. They catch, they leap, they run. Some athletes even come with 4 legs and paws and hooves. When these beloved family members need care, remember the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center. Ohio State experts wrote the book on exceptional animal care and know how to get our best friends back on their feet. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center.
Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. Sugar Valley's lineup of stallions includes world champion Down by the Seaside, Lather Up, the fastest horse in harness racing history, Little Brown Jug champion Well Said, and the newest stallions to the Sugar Valley lineup, Adios champion Catch the Fire, and the son of Hambletonian champion Muscle Hill, Marseille. Sugar Valley Farm, the home of champions.
Back here on Freshman Focus, Jason, was it worth $30 million what Caesars did here at Scioto?
Well, I will say it's going to take a while to get a ROI on that. You know, it's $30 million is not chump change, but I can say that we're definitely not done spending. We're going to continue working on the clubhouse. We're going to put a new roof on the clubhouse after this live racing season. Continue work on inside the clubhouse, and still work on the backside, and hopefully we have a lot more to come here in the future.
That money is well invested, because I'm sure that the fans here in Central Ohio and all over the state that make their way here, and the horsemen as well, they realize the benefits, and it's a great place to come for the fans because it's all fan friendly.
I think it's a fun place to come now. You know, everybody's enjoying themselves. Even on the backside, I think the horsemen are loving having the people back at the track and screaming as they come down the stretch.
I'm sure when they look over in that grandstand and see a crowd, they appreciate it.
I think they do.
Well, that wraps up Freshman Focus for 2023. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center, Sugar Valley Farm, and of course, Eldorado Scioto Downs. Until next time, be there.
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 11th with the next generation July 1st. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Freshman Focus is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.